Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. I bid to the moderator, our respected panel, Dr. Sahia binti Abdul Rahim and Dr. Zainab binti Abdul Rahman. My name is Nabila Athirah binti Roslan and I'm from PISMP June 2017 intake. I'm from TESL. Today I'm going to present my research report that is entitled Investigating English Speaking Anxiety among PISMP Non-TESL June 2020 intake. So moving on to the It is believed that this research has four main pillars of background. The first one is the behavioral problem. Students still find that using English in their daily conversation is hard and burdensome even after receiving 11 years of English formal education. So the students are deemed to be ignoring, not enjoying speaking activities and hesitate to speak English in classes, quoted from Shamim Ahmad 2015. So these behaviors we know later will cause a misconception in teachers and lecturers. So the teacher will see these students as or categorize these students as the low ability students as they are reluctant to engage in any English related activities. So these students actually are facing a lack of motivation in learning English, quoted from Notcus 2020. So this behavior is contradictory to the initial aim of introducing the student's modular approach, which is supposedly to produce an all-rounded ability in mastering English language. Moving on to the third pillar of background is speaking anxiety. So speaking anxiety is also referred as stage fright of communication apprehension. So the anxiety worsened when the person had to speak in his or her second language. It is also considered as common as 76% of people actually experience speaking anxiety when they are required to give a speech, quoted from Vertebra and Salno 2016. It's also proven that Malaysian students feel the most stressful when they were asked to do an oral presentation in English, quoted from Asmadia and Nur Atika 2018. So being a teacher requires the teacher trainee to be extraordinary and the cream de la cream, as they have to use excellent communication skill, especially in teaching later. Next is the fourth pillar of this research study, is the changes in educational policy. As we all know, the policy in educational sector changes from time to time. From 2003, it is PPSMI is introduced and it was abolished and replaced by MBMMI, and then new policy GLP is introduced. So these changes in policy actually concern not only the English teachers but also other subject teachers. Thus, IPG introduced several courses such as GEC 1033 English for Effective Communication and MPU 3022 English for English Language Proficiency. So, therefore, teacher trainees have to realize that possessing good English proficiency would help them to prepare themselves better in facing future endeavor, regardless of the major they are in right now. Moving on to the next slide, statement of problem. The first one is under the keyword challenging. Speaking skill is viewed as one of the most challenging aspects in language learning. So it is quoted from Kamal Haidari and Parishal in 2012. Next, students would ignore and hesitate to speak in their second language in speaking classes. They would consider the speaking task as highly anxiety-provoking situation, quoted from Muhammad Shaukat in 2015. Horwitz and Co. in 1986 have also shown the effect of language anxiety on students' achievement and English language learning performance. Next, under the keyword language anxiety, EWOC 2008 found that high levels of anxiety usually harm the language acquisition process. So teacher trainees who experience language anxiety will lead them to the feeling of worried about failing. With continued pressure and stress, the teacher trainee would develop or face problems such as fear and trauma in speaking in a foreign language, and thus would be affecting of low communication skill. These negative feelings would affect teacher trainees' confidence and self-esteem in speaking a second language. In the end, the teacher trainee would always avoid speaking in the second language. So the purpose of this study is to investigate students of PISMP Non-TESL June 2020 intake in IPG KDRI level of anxiety towards speaking in English. We will move on to the research objectives. The first one is the anxiety and the keyword of anxiety to investigate PISMP Non-TESL June 2020 intake in IPG KDRI anxiety level towards speaking English. Second one under the keyword class is to identify which class has the highest English speaking anxiety level. And for the third one is under the keyword gender to investigate gender difference in English speaking anxiety. Moving on to the research questions. The first one under the keyword of anxiety is, do students of PISMP Non-TESL June 2020 intake in IPGKDRI have anxiety towards speaking in English? Second one is class. Which class has the highest anxiety level towards speaking English? And the last one is there any difference in anxiety towards speaking in English based on gender? Significance of research. Under the keyword of less IPGM students' involvement, there is a lack of English speaking anxiety research that concerns IPGM students that they are being uploaded online on websites such as academia and researchgate.net. So this study aims to create an awareness regarding English speaking anxiety among PISMP Non-TESL June 2020 intake students in IPGKDRI. So the students, especially IPGM students, need to realize that this problem that lies between us. So as a teacher trainee, we should be aware and try to overcome the situation in order for us to be a good teacher with exceptional communication skills. Next is to find out the severity level. So this research aims to identify English speaking anxiety among teacher trainees. We could alert and inform the severity of the problem to the lecturers and policymakers of IPGM syllabus. So this is done to take necessary action if needed to amend and improvise the curriculum towards solving English speaking anxiety problem. Related past researchers. According to Vicky Chin Ting Hie Ling and Yo Jin Yi 2016 with the research entitled Investigating English Language Anxiety among UiTM Sarawak undergraduates, the samples were taken from first year diploma students and the results showed that 18.1% scored high levels of anxiety and 80.6% scored medium level of anxiety in speaking English. Next one, the second one is from Lim Hui Lian and Marzia binti Budin with the research title Investigating the Relationship Between English Language Anxiety and the Achievement of School-Based Oral English Tasks among Malaysian Form 4 students. So the samples were taken from students aged 15 to 16 in Zon Larut, Matang and Selama, Perak, and the results showed the students showed moderate levels of English speaking anxiety. And the third one is from Azalin Muhammad Noor, Mahfuzah Razak, Putri Zarina and Razita Muhammad in 2015 with the title Communication Apprehension in Language Learning, Is It Serious? So the samples were taken from 113 second language undergraduate students from all over Malaysia, and the result showed the students showed high level of anxiety in speaking English. So research design. This study uses a quantitative research method which deals with quantifying and analysis variable in order to get results. So this research also implemented a survey research design. According to Kretschy and Morgan 1970 sample size determination table, since my population is 254, so the sample should be 152. And to choose sample for this research, I use random sampling method. So the instruments used for data collection. So this research used a questionnaire that is adapted from Horwitz and Co. from 1986. So to ease the calculation process, I divided the questions into two main categories or three main sections. That is, first the communication apprehension, second one test anxiety, and third one is fear of negative evaluation. And this research adapted the 5 Likert scale scores, which the indicators are for the one equals to strongly disagree, 2 disagree, 3 neutral, 4 agree, and 5 strongly agree. Moving on to the research procedure, it all started in September 2020 when I made some amendments in my fundamentals of research, which concerns chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. After that, in December, I conducted my pilot study, and the pilot study was then used to analyze its internal consistency levels and reliability coefficient of the questionnaire. Since my pilot study scored 0.824 in Cronbach's alpha, that means that the questionnaire can be used in the actual study. Then I distributed the Google form link to collect data to the representatives chosen earlier. The data was then analyzed in SPSS software version 26.0, and the data was analyzed inferentially and descriptively. After finished analyzing my data, I proceed with writing the research report. In order to collect the data, first I asked for permission and sent the letter from Vice Rector IPGM to Administration Department of IPG KDRI. Then, the representatives from each classes were chosen to ease the distribution of the link, Google Form link. Next, after representatives are chosen, the Google Form link then is distributed. Moving on to the data analysis procedure. First, I transfer the data from Google Sheet into SPSS version 26.0 software. The data was then analyzed descriptively, which is include the mean and the standard deviation to answer research question 1 and 2. And to answer the research question number 3, I use inferential analysis using t-test to compare the gender difference in anxiety levels. So, this is the indicator used in this study, whereas if the student scored 0 until 1.66, that indicate low levels of anxiety. Next is 1.67 to 3.33 indicates neutral level of anxiety. Next is 3.34 until 5 indicates high level of anxiety. This is a conceptual framework. It is believed that test anxiety, fear of negative evaluation, and communication apprehension contributes in English speaking anxiety. Moving on to the discussion session. For the first research question, PISMP Non-TESL June 2020 intake did suffer from high level of English speaking anxiety with a mean of 3.49. Next, research question number 2, class PSV2 has the highest anxiety level towards speaking English with a mean of 3.68. And for research question number 3, there is no significant statistical difference in anxiety level towards speaking in English between gender. Next, the conclusion is there is high level of anxiety towards speaking in English, shown by PISMP Non-TESL June 2020 intake. Next is for the PSV2, scored the highest mean 3.68, followed by PI2 with a mean of 3.61. Next, the PISMP Non-TESL June 2020 intake showed low self-confidence in speaking in English. They believe that others perform better than themselves and believe that other people will laugh at their mistakes. And lastly, there is no statistically significant difference in English speaking anxiety among gender. The recommendations are as below. So the first one is for IPGM to revise the current curriculum and RMK to be adjusted accordingly to the job market needs and the students' needs. Second is for the lecturers maybe to allocate more time to focus in speaking skills and do a lot of variety of speaking activity with the students. Next is for the teacher training, they have to make some self-improvement in English speaking activity, maybe participate in more English speaking activity. And it is also recommended for all IBGM students to sit for CEFR or MUAT test so that they could identify their current English proficiency levels, such just like other undergraduate students do. And lastly, for other researchers, maybe they could expand research skill maybe to the IBGM students as a whole or the undergrads in Malaysia. Or otherwise, the other researcher could find some effective ways to overcome the English speaking anxiety among PGM students or undergraduate students as a whole. Next is the so the implications are the first one, students can learn speaking skill longer, thus will make them will gain confidence in using English. Next, when students will have the confidence in using English, the IPGM will produce all-rounded teachers with top-notch quality. Then, with other researchers, we will provide better solutions for all undergrad students. I guess that is all from me. Thank you for listening. Bye.